Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's go.
We recording.
Yo,
Who
that
can I
dude
be?
really, that
We
dude
not
really
we not
do look.
live, but you know it's the countdown. You already know what it
Yeah,
is.
this dude really does look like the original man, bro. Like, man, it's crazy.
like Plymouth Rock landed on him.
Right?
He look like you said he looked like a Flintstone. He looked like a Flintstone.
Yeah, he do. He look real prehistoric, bro.
Oh, bro.
That's crazy.
Oh man, that is wild.
Yeah.
That's insane. Make sure you hit
Don't
them
forget to
thumbs up.
clock in, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell.
Yes, sir.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
This is one of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, they just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces from my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, but now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause your mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scrambled they spy drones.
That voice is speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history.
I can't explain it.
There once lived a king who reigned over a prosperous empire for many years, driven by an insatiable hunger for conquest. He amassed a formidable army, striking fear into the hearts of all. However, malevolent forces led to his downfall. Now, a promising regime has arisen to reclaim the kingdom's former splendor. On this day, dreams come true, and nightmares are born. There are many fan bases, but only one nation. Welcome to the best football show on earth.
Our coaches and our players for buying in. It wasn't easy. It was something that probably many people didn't think would happen, as you say, overnight. But when you have good people in the building, when you have the belief, you have the trust, you have the accountability, you earn respect, you do it the Raider way, you buy in, you understand that nobody's bigger than the shield and the patch, and that you play for a lot more than just the name on your back. Raider Nation, stand up.
We are live, kind of, sort of.
Yes. Kind of.
We back, man. Hey, man. Another legendary collab. My guy, Big Mike Raiders, the Severe Raider. As you see it on the screen, obviously myself, PharoahNFL. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell. Man, we got a great show lined up, man. We've been doing mock drafts left and right, but this is the first show we got together, and we haven't spoken to Mike since before the draft.
Yeah.
So and Mike has, he had his reaction on his channel, so make sure to check him out. But I haven't heard it yet, so this is gonna be a great conversation. But yeah, man, how's everybody doing, man?
Man, good, man. This is about to be a fire show. This is about to be a show we can finally talk about, even off air, right? We was like, nah, save it. Don't say nothing. Let's keep it fresh. So yeah, this is gonna be a good one, bro.
Yep, yes, sir. What's going on, Severe?
Oh man, you know how it is, man. You know what time it is over here, bro.
Hey,
the villain of villains.
I can see the comment section already. Like this dude,
the Grinch. This guy's the Grinch. Man.
This
just rains
on everybody's.
Diabolical.
Hey man, man. But you know what? Hey, at the end of the day, man, you back it up. But we have a great show, man. So let's just get into it. Obviously, that draft talk is never ending. We earlier in the week, if y'all check this out, we talked about like our grades and how we felt about the draft. But let's talk about where we project some of these players looking in the offense and defense respectively. And some guys might not even get on the field, but let's talk about it. But Mike, man, like, what were your let's actually start with you, man. Like, what were your thoughts after the draft? Like, your reaction to this draft? What were you thinking?
I thought that so first day, let's break it down a little bit. Day one, initially after pick 8, I felt a bout of depression entering my body. And because we'll save a little bit of the fire, stoke the flame. We won't stoke it too much, but as far as that number 8 pick and the Falcons getting Michael Penix, I was a little bit down about that one. And at that point I was eyeing, okay, let's go get a tackle. And we ended up getting the best player available. What a lot of people say is the best player available. I think that Severe probably has something opposite to say about that, but Initially, I didn't like the pick. I wasn't a really big fan of the pick just because of need. So I started really thinking about it. I started thinking about it overnight and thinking about the possibilities as far as what we can do on offense. And the 12 personnel, 13 personnel is going to go crazy. I think it's the Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers duo is a duo we haven't seen in NFL history. And I'm not even exaggerating. Maybe you could say it was the Gronk and Aaron Hernandez situation all over again, possibly like a possibility. But as far as the pedigree of these two tight ends, the last 2 years has been arguably the best tight ends in the class. Mackey Award winner 2 times on the team, and then the runner up in 2022 on the same team. It brings a possibility of running something that we've never seen in the NFL. You know, a deeper threat at a tight end that can also play wide out, can also play in the slot and out of the backfield, run jet sweeps and things like that. And then another guy that can be that more traditional tight end role that he can run the safety routes and, you know, underneath and things like that. So it brings a whole new wrinkle to an offense that defenses I couldn't imagine them if it works properly. I don't see how they can defend that because if you defend the middle of the field, if you defend the middle of the field, the deep part of the field, deep middle of the field is gonna be open, you know. And we have somebody that can beat a safety with Brock Bowers, so you know. And then you add on the possibility of running the ball out of the 12 personnel. Both the tight ends we have can block very well. So, you know, and that also compensates for, you know, having a right tackle that might not be the greatest. You know, we have 2 extra blockers on the field that can really get it done and establish that run game and then hit the play action with short intermediate routes to either Michael Mayer or go deep on you with either Devontae Adams or Brock Bowers in a 12 personnel situation. So it just brings a whole new wrinkle. And when I thought about that, I was like, all right, I think I kind of like this move as far as the first round goes. But second round, best interior offensive lineman. Can't beat that. That was an excellent pick. Best pick of the night. Best pick of the draft. The one pick I didn't like overall was the DJ Glaze in the third round. I thought that was a terrible reach. It's just I think there was better players on the board. We could have addressed other spots, but it's going to be interesting to see that Thayer Mumford and Glaze competition at that right tackle position to see what happens. But other than that, I liked every single pick. Not going to get too deep into the rest of them, but I think they're all going to be fits, bolster the depth of the defense and offense, and we got a special teams ace in Dylan Lobby too. So I do like the pick.
Yeah. Now, I agree with you, too, about Brock Bowers, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie. When it first happened, the disappointment of not getting a quarterback, the shock of getting a tight end after we drafted the tight end in the second round last year, that initial response was like, what the fuck? What are we doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Just from the experience of being a Raider fan and just watching so many drafts going straight left. I'm talking about, like, we're getting Clean Pharaoh, pick number 3 or 4, and this guy was projected going in the later in the first round. You got Alex Leatherwood, where Darisaw was available. Literally, Darisaw was staring him in the face, and the Raiders were like, nah, we want Leatherwood, and that really happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, Damon Arnett getting picked in the first round, where guys, no one projected him going in the first round. You know, so what I'm trying to say is that we've seen picks go left and right, and you could call me a pessimist, and I agree with Severe to a certain extent. I give him a chance to speak for himself, but I automatically was like, man, this is worst case scenario. Like, what are we doing? Like, but that being said, it had nothing to do with the player. It had more so to do with the needs that we have. Like you mentioned, offensive tackle. Like you mentioned, like you were thinking offensive tackle. You were thinking Fuaga. If anything, I know you're a big J.C. Latham guy. So I already know where you're going with it. And then obviously that corner spot. And both were kind of available at that pick number 13.
Right.
And we found out that they could have traded down. So I was just like, So you're telling me and I know this is a completely different position, but if we had a franchise quarterback, right, and we weren't thinking quarterback, but the best player on the board was a quarterback, you're telling me we're going to get that quarterback? Or are we going to trade down? I think we're going to trade down. So there's that part of me, and then there's another part of me. Everything you said about like this, what the Raiders are doing is saying this: we couldn't get our quarterback, so we know what we're going to do. We're going to get so much weapons on offense. We're going to cover up the deficiency of the quarterbacks that we have. We got Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer. Like, you just think about all the weapons. And then the fact that they were able to, like you said, best pick in the draft, I agree, biggest value. I didn't even think he was going to be there. We did mock drafts, and he wasn't there. Austin Powers Johnson was available, like in the second round, best value pick of the draft. But I'm not going to talk too much, man. Severe, let the people know, man, like how you felt about I mean, look, what do you? All right, like I'm not even gonna go there because I know you had.
So I'm gonna put it like this, man. So kind of like you, right? kind of like you, man. We had the draft, and we saw how it played out. We saw how it played out, and no, I wasn't happy with the pick, man. I just wasn't happy with the pick, and like you said, it had nothing to do with the player. And then hey, we went through day 2 and day 3, and I kind of like let that digest, let that swirl around in my brain, and we came back and did the show on Monday, and I kind of shared my thoughts on it. And then after the Monday show, I read the comments in the chat. And I read a lot of more stuff. Start reading up on these players on the internet. Then I read Big Mike's article, and then after doing all of that, I was like, "Damn, I'm absolutely right. Like, this is a dumbass move. Like, why do we do this? This is stupid." So, I'm like, "Yo, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?" So, man, I was just like, "Yo, why did we?" And I understand best player available, right? But smart teams, when you are faced with that decision, when you have a position that you are not in need of, right? We did, I don't know how many mock drafts. In none of these mock drafts, whether it was a 1-round mock, a 2-round mock, a 3-round mock, a 7-round mock, none of them at any point did we say, like, let's grab that tight end, right? At no point in any of these drafts did we say we need a tight end. Whether it was the 7th, whether it's the 6th, the 5th, at no point. So, like, we weren't even going to take a look at that point in the draft. So you're telling me, like, you know what? In the first round, we just drafted a guy last year, but guess what? No, will really shock him if we take another tight. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, especially knowing that we had an opportunity to trade back and still get a top tackle or the top corner on the board, which are both positions of great need. Like, and I understand what you and Mike are talking about, right? What we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff on offense. 12 personnel, it's defense is going to have to play vanilla. But you know what? We're going to have all these people running open and somebody that can't get them the ball. It's gonna be a whole lot of hand waving in the secondary, because it's gonna be dudes open, and it's gonna be somebody getting sacked or somebody not making the correct read or not delivering an accurate ball. It's like like, I don't think we have the quarterbacks on this roster that are going to maximize the weapons we have, and I think they can each do an adequate job, but I'm tired of adequate quarterback play. I don't want adequate quarterback play. I want, good quarterback play to great quarterback play. And if we're going to do something that I think if we were going to do something, I would rather us fortify our offensive line, give a guy like, if the guy's going to be Aiden O'Connell, maximize the amount of time he's going to have to sit back there in the pocket. Because we already know he's a guy that's not going to move off the spot that often. Maximize the amount of time he has to sit back there, read what the defense is doing and deliver an accurate ball, rather than, hey, you know what, let's try to hurry up and get the ball to these tight ends, or get the ball to Devontae, or get the ball to Jacoby, or fortify your strength, right? The games we won last year, our biggest games that we won were generally won on or lost. You consider the Minnesota game we needed to get into the playoffs. They were won or lost basically, on defense, right? Our defense held up their end of the bargain. And, the offense in both of those games let them down completely. The Minnesota game, we couldn't score a single point. The Chiefs game, we didn't complete a pass for 3 quarters. If not for Zamir White having the game of his NFL career, we lose the and Jack Jones scoring a defensive touchdown and our other defensive touchdown. We lose that game too. So everybody points to that Kansas City win, like, oh, look how we won this game. No, we won that game on defense. It wasn't our starting quarterback. It was on the ground and through defense. So at that point, why not strengthen the strength, right? Get another corner opposite of Jack Jones. Take the Seattle Seahawks route when they had a young Russell Wilson, and do it that way. So, like I said, I don't have anything against the player. Brock Bowers he was a great college player. I'm hoping that translates into him being a great NFL player, but I just don't think that was a good pick.
You know what?
I hear you.
Go
man.
for it, bro.
No, I was just gonna say, I hear where you're coming from, but I think the one thing that you did say about Brock Bowers, no one seen Brock Bowers come. I didn't see it coming, but no one also seen 6 quarterbacks get taken in the first 12 picks, and a lot of the mock drives had Brock Bowers going in like the top 10, top 7. Like he was like, outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, like he was like a guy like a lot of people looked as one of the best offensive weapons in the draft. And arguably, like, if he instantly becomes the second, like, man, arguably the second best weapon on our offense. You think about it, like, more explosive, can score. He could break the game at any point at that tight end position because he's going against slower competition for the most part. Unless you put a DB on him, then I get it. But he's still breaking DBs. He's getting open on DBs. That's how good he is at his size. So I'm like, it makes me think like, okay. And then you got to think about life after Devontae. Like, there's a potential where he could be the best offensive weapon on our offense. Like, he could be the number 1 eventually. Because Devontae, we keep talking about it. Like, this dude need to get traded because ain't nobody gonna pay him $40 million in 2025. Like, hell no. But I'm take the floor, Mike. I know you wanted something to say, but I just wanted to touch on that. It's because I don't think anybody's seen Brock Bowers being available at 13. And what's big on that, what makes that really true is the fact that 2 teams try to trade up to draft him. The Rams at 19, and who else was it at 15? I believe
the Colts.
The Colts. And after Brock Bowers went, the call stopped.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, and it, I know you're not big on Aiden O'Connell, but this is maybe the optimist in me. I'm considering that he was on a skeleton of an offensive scheme last year. Very little time to prepare as a starter, and no offensive coordinator. And those things, a lot of things against him, and yet he still won 5 games for us. He was a 5-4 in 9 games, something like that. I think
it's 5-5. You count all of his starts. He was 5-5.
Yeah,
5-4 under 5-4 under Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, so considering all that, a 4th-round quarterback with all those things against him still had a 500 record. To me, I think he's worth of giving another shot. Now, next year, when it's time to, talk about quarterback, maybe we look back at it and just like, okay, maybe we need to go get a quarterback. But I think in this year, we got to give him a chance for the fact that, what it looks like they're doing path-wise as far as building a team, it's exactly what it is. They're building an entire team around a quarterback who is probably average. And a team that has done that for years and years and years at this point is the 49ers. You see the 49ers with dude, what's his name? Mr. Irrelevant. Brock Purdy. Yeah, and he's not the greatest quarterback. A lot of people, sell him short for his ability, but yet they've gone to the Super Bowl because they got a bunch of pieces. We got a defense to boot. Check. 49ers do the same thing. We got pieces on the offense to get it done. Check. We got a pretty solid left tackle. Check. He's not as good as Trent Williams, but he's pretty damn good, right? So, bring in some more dogs at running back. Maybe Dylan Lobby steps up and be, something else, down the line. Maybe not this year, but next year. You got yourself a recipe to kind of follow in that same mold as the 49ers, because you got pieces on defense and you got the offense built around a quarterback that can get the job done and plays the quarterback position to the fullest extent of the definition. Not somebody that's going to improvise, not somebody that's going to break the game like we want to do, but somebody that is good enough to win. And now the question is Aiden O'Connell good enough to win? Is Gardner Minshew good enough to win? That's the question that we're going to find out this year. And the good part about it is if either one fails, next year we're looking for a quarterback, and one of those two guys are gone.
So I got a question for y'all. So y'all jumping? Y'all jumping now? y'all jumping together now? Okay. Yeah, jumping now. It's a 2-on-1. It's a 2-on-1 now. Okay. I see what it is. Okay. Now I would say this. Not
the world.
I will say this about Aiden O'Connell. So we talk about the situation he was put in. So people always talk about him going into Josh McDaniels, how that first game against the Chargers, how he was quote unquote set up to fail. But then you look down the stretch, right? Like he was put in every position to succeed. And I would say that the one time where he had the most time to prepare, he had a bye week. He was going against an opponent who was missing their or who was possibly missing going to miss their best weapon, a team that wasn't known as a really good team. With the playoffs on the line, with AP getting everybody amped up, he played possibly his worst game when he had the most preparation. So it seems as if when teams had the most time to prepare for him, when they knew he was going to be the guy, is when they did their best against him. It was only his best game came on a short week. When we played basically a team that had fell on their swords. And of his, I want to say he had 12 touchdown passes over the 10 games he played, and 4 of them came in that game. So so it's not like he put on these inspiring performances. And there's still some potential to mine there, and there still is an opportunity for us to get quarterback in the future. And I know the opportunity to get quarterback this year, we did what we could, but that decision was kind of out of our hands. It was up to the Commanders and to the Falcons whether or not they wanted to accept that trade. My point is that we had opportunities later in the draft, right? Spencer Rattler is a guy who had previously been considered as a top 10 pick, right? Some people he was a number 1 quarterback coming out of high school the year he came out. In terms of arm talent, it's Michael Penix, Caleb Williams, and him. If you look at their ability to not only push the ball downfield but also throw with accuracy, throw with touch, and throw with anticipation. So we wouldn't put Joe Milton in that conversation because he lacks those other 2 elements. But so you have an opportunity to get that kind of guy later in the draft to add some youth and some talent more than anything into this kind of talentless quarterback room, right? It's a quarterback room with a lot of moxie, but it's low on talent. So you have some high end talent there, maybe some past maturity issues, but you add a guy like that into a very mature room, I think that guy has the potential to blossom. But instead of taking him, we took a linebacker, which is, I mean, I'm not a fan of that. That's probably outside of Glaze. That was probably the pick that frustrated me the most, just because you have a chance to add a quarterback to your room, and instead of doing that, you take a linebacker that at the very best is going to be a 2-down linebacker and a special teamer. He's a guy who's liability in coverage, stiff in the hips. He's best going forward. So I mean, I didn't see. It's like when you're drafting, you're putting together a puzzle. But we put together a bunch of puzzles that really don't fit. We went for a Brock Bowers, who was a win now kind of guy, And Jackson Powers Johnson is a win now kind of guy, but Camryn Richardson, he's not a plug and play guy. Delmar Glaze isn't a plug and play guy. Of all things being equal, Eichenberg never sees the field. So it's like it's like we talk about this plan we're supposed to have, but it's like we had some fragments in there. This wasn't a win now draft. This was these guys want to win now with, but these guys are developmental guys. Well, which one is it? Are you pushing all your cards into the middle of the table, or are you kind of planning for the future? And like sometimes if you're half in half out, then you lose on both sides.
Yeah.
Just to move it along, but like I hear what you're saying as far as the draft and how it doesn't match. But would you say, I agree with you, the third round, Mike? I know you mentioned this as a pick that you were kind of questioning, was Glaze, and that was one of those guys where we thought like he was a little bit too early, and it was kind of interesting because the first two picks looked like it was best player available, and then he got nervous. I don't know if you want to call it nervous or panic, because a lot of offensive tackles were getting off the board before the Raiders pick in the third round. And then he just decided to go after to grab a tackle now rather than later, because he felt like maybe there wasn't going to be one later. Yeah. But the other side to it is that they probably reached when there's probably some other player that was better at maybe another position. But what I'll say to you, Severe, is like, after the third round, like after that, like a lot of the players kind of have some flaws, and why they're getting picked in the fourth, fifth, sixth. Some guy is going to be super athletic, but he's not as skillful. He hasn't been playing football for a long time, so he's kind of raw. He's a project. Or a guy you might, like you mentioned, 2-down linebacker. Hey, there's going to be plenty of 2-down linebackers in the fifth, sixth, seventh round. You know what I mean? So I think it just comes with the territory. But we've seen from this coaching staff, they can turn run defenders into passable pass coverage linebackers, because Robert Spillane wasn't coming to the Raiders like he was an elite pass coverage linebacker, but somehow, some way, Patrick Graham and the boys, Antonio Pierce, former linebacker coach, he coached that position up a little bit. You know what I mean? Gave Spillane some swagger. You know what I mean? So, hey, look.
I told y'all about Spillane last year. Spillane was with Brian Flores and Mike Tomlin. He never left the field. Never left the field. And I was telling people that when we picked him up, and they was telling me he was no good. Like, that's it. People was telling me Spillane was no good. And now they're trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm looking at him. Like, it's like, come on now. Like, now y'all telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. When I was telling you about this guy last year, y'all was telling me I didn't know what I was talking about then. So now I know what I'm talking about on Spillane. Now I don't know what I'm talking about these other people. It's like, it don't make no sense.
Hey, but look, man, we could talk about this all day. Was there any? I mean, we didn't really talk about the second round. You know what I mean? Like we didn't talk about how we mentioned it and said like it was probably the best pick of the draft, best value. But like, man, let's talk about the projection. Like, is he gonna be starting at center, or do y'all see guard?
He's got to play guard. Yeah, he's got to play guard at this point. Andre James is the grizzled vet at this point on the offensive line, and the name of the game is continuity and consistency. You can't really change what you've been putting out there for the last 3 years. It's been successful. That whole left side of the field, left side of that offensive line, starting from center to the left, has been pretty successful. But now what we haven't had is that right side solidified. You solidify the right side with a Powers Johnson, and you have versatility just in case Andre James, knock on wood, he goes down, and then you can move him over to center, and then you pick up a guard in the scrap heap, or somebody with depth like Meredith. You can put him at guard, or you can move over Munford. It leaves versatility, and it adds depth as well. And you have an immediate starter, a day one starter on that right side. So I think that was the best pick and the best fit for him.
Yeah, man. And we've been talking about it, that interior part of the line, especially that right side. I think it looks like Thayer Munford might have a leg up on that tackle spot right now. Maybe Glaze, but a lot of people are kind of projecting Glaze to play guard. Is he going to be a tackle? Yeah. Is he going to be a guard? You know what I mean? It's deals like we'll figure it out as we go. But that being said, man, like I said, we can talk about this all day. But let's move it along, man. Let's get to comments of the week, man. It's that time.
Let's get
You know
it.
what I mean? Hopefully,
Let's get through it.
Hopefully by the next couple of shows, production goes up, man. We gonna have sound effects. I'm tired of saying I want something automated right now. I want to press a button.
Exactly. Like comments of the week.
Well, let's get into it, man. Comments of the week, man. You know what it is. We look at comments in all our channel videos because it's going to be streamed live on all of our channels. So we look at the comments and we pick out things that we want to talk about. I mean, and mind you, when we dropped our last show was before the draft. So some of these comments we're talking about are mock drafts and who they thought were going to go in what round. So I'm just going to go show it real quick, and then we'll get into the mock drafts like that we had. So my guy over here, M85619. We got to work on that name, man. We got something a little smoother, man. Come on, man. But why give up the draft capital, get the QB at 13, then we could trade up from 44 if an offensive tackle falls, or just select an offensive tackle at 44. Don't get cute, grab the QB and figure everything else out after, man. So this is right before the draft on Thursday. First round. So man, if he only knew. But let's go to the next comment real quick. Shout out to Walt. He says, Casanova Court Club. He says, I have Jordan Morgan going 36 to Washington in the second. So I believe he went to the Packers in the first round.
Late first, yep.
Late first, but hey, that's right there. That's the beginning of the second. So he called it right there a little bit.
Yeah, and I remember one of those mock drafts. I know that Severe was talking about. I think we moved up at some point. He was talking about getting him in the late first. So shout out to Severe too. I mean, he was on the money with a lot of things. These mock drafts.
He was one of our picks. He was one of our picks. I think he was one of our second round picks, I believe, right? I think we in the second. We might be. I'm trying to. I think it might be in one of the mock drafts that we're going to show in just a second. We get right to it. All right, so here goes the first mock draft, one of our mock drafts, and just compare it to the Raiders draft. You know what I mean? Just try to. Right here, this was. Right here, we got Talise Fuaga. I think this one was straight up. We didn't do any trades.
No, that's the one with the trades because
we traded back. My bad.
What? We traded back and had an excellent look at my face. I'm so surprised we were able to get all those guys. I'm like, wow.
So as you can see, we traded back. I think we traded back maybe twice. Might have traded back once or twice, but we're able to get Talise Fuaga with the first pick. That's crazy, right? Then we got Braden Fisk. So, you can never have enough pass rushers. You see where our mindset was. Then we had Edrin Cooper because we had a second round pick. He ended up going in the second round. And Braden Fisk also went to the second round. And Talise Fuaga went actually number 14, a pick after the Raiders. So he went to the Saints. Yes. And in this version, we went with Spencer Rattler in the third.
We traded up for Spencer Rattler. So.
We trade? We traded up for from number 77 to 73.
Yep.
Right. And then Tyron Tracy is that the I can't even see it, but it might
fourth.
Be
that fourth.
Or is it another fourth?
Yeah. So this number 4.
Was this one of our 4-round mock drafts? I don't know.
That was a 4. Yeah, that was a 4-round mock draft.
Okay.
So we got Tracy in the 4th at 102.
Yeah, we got hella capital from trading back in the first round. Man,
right.
Wow.
Yeah, look, man. Hey, look, man. Hey, look. I think they, man. Raiders need to add us to the front office. You know what I'm saying? Because this if this were to happen in real life, whoo, man.
I mean, and it was realistic too. Besides Fuaga going at 18, but there was other tackles to be available at 18 at that time.
Yep.
And then, Braden Fisk went around that time. He went to the Rams in the second round, which people thought he was going to go to the third. Told him no, but whatever.
Yeah.
Edrin Cooper, we got a C+ for that one. He went at 45 to the Packers. We got a C+ for picking him at 49, which is outlandish. And then Zach Zinter, even though I was telling everybody that he was going to be a third round guy, nobody wanted to hear that one either.
Man.
We picked him in the fourth and got a D plus for that. So I'm here to flex a little bit. I hate to
Yeah,
say I
man.
told you with a lot of those picks, and that's going to be the theme for the rest of these mock drafts. But that's just a little appetizer for you guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Mike was on it, man. Mike was down, man. Like, man, when he did his 30 days, 30 prospects, and he did one on my guy Dylan Lobby, man. He nailed the pick, man. He said we're in the round 6, 208, man, and that's exactly where we got him, man. So, that was another one of my favorite picks.
Yeah, you were the one that talked me into picking him in doing the 30 days. So yeah, we was both on the money with that one.
Yep. And this is another mock draft that we had, another 4-round mock draft. This one was straight up.
Yep.
And in this straight up mock draft, you can see, look at, none of these players were available at the spots. Like Talise Fuago obviously went number 14. Penix obviously went number 8 to the Falcons. Kyrie Jackson actually went in the 4th, I believe, right?
Yep.
He went to the 4th. What team did he go to?
He was number 108. I can't remember where though.
I forget where too.
It's someone in the chat, man. If y'all know, man, that's the bonus question right there. And then Zach Zinter actually he went in the 3rd. Did he go in the 3rd?
Yep.
So
89th overall. The Browns, Cleveland Browns.
Hey man, so all these people that was talking about Michael Penix was gonna be available in the 2nd, late 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show another one real quick. I'll show another mock draft where we traded up. We traded up. This is one of our early mock drafts. We did 2-round mock draft, and we're like, you know what? We know we have to trade up to get a quarterback, and we felt like the best quarterback on the board, realistically, was Penix.
You know what the funny part about that is?
The F.
We got the F, right? But and I'm gonna let you take this one, Severe, after I say what I say, because I know you kind of have. I know you can expound on this point. Say we did move up to 8. Say we move up to 8, and we pick Michael Penix Jr. Imagine the outrage from people at number 8. If we picked at number 8, we pick Michael Penix Jr. But once again, I hate to say that I told you so, that we told you so, that you're gonna have to move up to pick up Michael Penix Jr. But nobody wanted to hear it. PFF didn't even want to hear it. They gave us an F for it. But you heard it here first 3 weeks ago that you're going to have to move up to pick Michael Penix Jr. So another flex from us, man.
Man, facts. And that's the thing, man. It's almost better that we didn't do it in real life, because had we done it, the amount of outrage throughout Raider Nation would send shockwaves throughout the NFL. Right? They would be extremely mad, and they would working under the assumption that nobody else was going to take him there. But no, I had been saying for as long as I could that I thought he was the second best quarterback in the draft. Atlanta apparently had him pegged as the second best quarterback in the draft. They had him tied with Jay Daniels, essentially. They had Caleb Williams at 1. They had Michael Penix and Jay Daniels basically on equal footing at that second quarterback. So, they kind of knew Jay Daniels wouldn't fall. So they had earmarked Michael Penix to be the selection. Raheem Morris, who was a defensive guy, a defensive head coach, Super Bowl winning defensive head coach, Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. He's a guy that loved Michael Penix as well as a general manager. So for as long as we've been doing this show together, we've been saying, you know what, this guy is a top 10 talent. And when you're a quarterback needy team, or a team that anticipates you're going to need a quarterback, they can very easily go high. And all it takes is one team. And apparently we weren't the only ones that had that feeling, because we tried to trade up, and Seattle tried to trade up, and the Saints tried to trade up to that number 8 spot as well. And Atlanta, even after giving all that money to Kirk Cousins, they were so dead set on taking Michael Penix at that particular pick that they said no to all of those teams. So, I mean, that just kind of tells you the kind of talent that this guy is.
You know what? It has me thinking about the trade up, and I know that everybody was contacting, the Falcons, but I want to know, like, how early were the Raiders looking into trade? I know they looked into trading up to get Jaden Daniels, and obviously that was impossible. Commanders end up drafting him. But how early do you think those talks to trade up and get Michael Penix started? Because when you look at number 7, the Titans, they end up drafting J.C. Latham, and he was a second offensive line off the board. But I'm like, the Titans wouldn't trade down and and still get offensive line and more draft capital? Because I'm sure that the Raiders are going to give up some draft picks to get Michael Penix at pick number 7. So it makes me think, did they start calling the Falcons at number 8, or do you think it started a little bit earlier? Like I want to hear.
I think it started earlier. I think it started at 6. Because remember, the Giants there was rumor out there that they were interested in Michael Penix Jr. as well at number 6. And I think that's kind of where it would start. And I think the Giants probably were using that to try to gain some more draft capital and throw some folks off. Maybe that wasn't a real serious thing, but number 6 is where it started. I mean, you heard it. You heard the rumor. Now, is the rumor legit? It was smoke season. We know how that goes, right? But sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. And at number 8, seeing the Falcons pick up a quarterback that they, arguably didn't need, I could very well see, even at 7, the Titans picking up another quarterback, even though they got, Levis, and, we could be having that same argument, about the Titans. Why'd you pick another quarterback? It's the 3rd year in a row you picked a quarterback, this and that, blah, 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 So yeah. It's almost the same kind of argument we can have if the Titans did it than the Falcons. It's actually even more justified for the Titans to do it than the Falcons. So because the money, and you can kind of let go of one of those 2 quarterbacks, Levis or even old Willis. Boy that they drafted, Willis. So it would have been justified even more than the Falcons. But can I back up a little bit and look at this in a bigger lens? Go ahead. Just so, and I was gonna say this, as far as the quarterbacks go, I would say, if you really look at each player and what they bring to the table, I think these quarterbacks were heavily overrated and heavily overhyped. You look at a Caleb Williams, he has issues as far as not attitude, but there's an issue with maybe leadership and how he is as personality wise. It could be an issue, right? And then you look at Jaden Daniels, he had like a 3rd round grade before he had his Heisman season. So is this a 1-year wonder type of deal? JJ McCarthy hasn't had any opportunities to really put much film on the board, right? And then you got Drake May, who doesn't really seem to be the dude that everybody thinks he is. I still gonna stand on that. I think he's gonna be a major bust down the line. And then you got Michael Penix. Yeah. So and then you got Michael Penix, who has an injury history, a heavy injury history, and a lot of people were real cold on that one. And Bo Nix, he's not a 1st-round talent to me, but he got picked because there was no other. They had to do it basically, or else they wouldn't be able to get him. So the Broncos. So if I look at this in a bigger lens, from like a scouting or coach's perspective, from the Raiders' perspective, in terms of scouting, maybe they really thought that this wasn't the year to get a quarterback. Maybe they really wasn't valuing the quarterback as much as we did. And you can also say like, hey, next year, nobody thought that Jaden Daniels was going to have the year he was going to have. Nobody thought. There's quarterbacks that are just as good. Next year, you got Fafita from Arizona. You got Ewers. I know you think he's a bum, but maybe he improves and his stock goes higher. We're talking about the same scenario next year. Shedeur Sanders, like a bunch of guys that come out next year. Now we're hyping them up as probably the best class, right? We're saying right now, as we stand in 2024, that draft class isn't going to be as good as this draft class, but they haven't had a year yet. We could be talking about Fafita being the number 1 pick overall after this season. He has that type of talent with Arizona. So we gotta really tone down the hype a little bit with some of these quarterbacks, to me, in the grander scheme of things, in the bigger lens of things. And maybe that was why the Raiders didn't maybe they saw it like, okay, maybe we just, these quarterbacks isn't it. And the guys we have in the locker room right now are better than these rookies. Maybe that is a possibility.
Right, and I agree with you as far as a difference a year makes, because look at Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
No one had
Yeah.
him going number 2
Yeah.
overall, like before the season. Like after this season, like his stock rose tremendously.
Right.
And then also you got to look at like the quarterback. The quarterback's the most important position on the football field, and so many teams wanted to draft a quarterback this year too. So I agree. Certain players were overvalued. I don't think the Raiders were as interested in Bo Nix as they were Michael Penix. And I'm not sure how they felt about J.J. McCarthy, but if we're just going to go off what AP said, I don't think he valued him at all. He's like, man, what do you say about Bo Nix? 61 starts.
Yeah.
Man, this guy's tough. Or what did he say about McCarthy? He called him, he's tough. But,
Yeah.
He's
a winner.
Man.
He's a winner.
He's a winner. He's a winner.
That just means you suck and you're on a good team around you. That's what that means, bro.
So I would say to Mike's point that there's a very good point, but it's an old saying that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So like we're already trying to project out what guys will be from college to the NFL. You're getting to a dangerous game when you start trying to project out what guys will be from 1 year in college to the next year in college, then to the NFL, right? That's like an extra leap you have to make. So,
it's true.
So sometimes you have classes where you get Caleb Williams and Jane Daniels and Michael Penix. And sometimes you have classes where you get Kenny Pickett and Sam Darnold and Sam Howell and Desmond Ritter, right? So like
that's fair.
Get very dangerous. So if you have an opportunity to get a guy that you think is the guy, and I think that all things being equal, when you look at everything Antonio Pierce said about the quarterback position, I think two guys fit this criteria like perfectly, and I think it was Jaden Daniels, and I think it was Michael Penix, especially maybe even more so with Michael Penix. We talk about that adversity piece of it, and just hearing the kind of where Michael Penix was at mentally after those injuries, where like nobody in the world would have blamed him if he said, you know what, I'm going to walk away from football. But instead, because like I've never had a serious knee injury, but I have a brother who has had a serious knee injury, and I know that rehab process is grueling and it is tough, and like not only physically but mentally as well. So when you go through that, and he went through it twice, and then come back on the other side of it even stronger, and still have that same type of leadership and that same type of enthusiasm and love for the game, I think that's a guy that would have fit perfectly with this team. But like I said, we have who we have now. So here's hoping that we make the best out of the situation. Because that being said, right, we can say the same thing. Like, well, like look, there's some tight ends, man. There's some tight ends some young tight ends that can come in, and we start doing that, then it starts to be a slippery slope when we try to project these guys out. So we had Brock Bowers. We thought that guy was the best player on the board, so we took him. We tried to get the quarterbacks. I think to your point, I think once the Giants made their selection, I think we started making phone calls. To get up to 8. I think we kind of knew the Titans. It wasn't very likely they would take a quarterback. I think we started making calls at that point. And the fact that the Falcons even having a quarterback, right? Like they didn't want to wait a year. They have a guy already on a 4-year contract, and they were like, "Nah, bro, we're taking one now."
I hate the Falcons.
Bro. So that tells you what they thought of what these GMs are thinking about. If you have a chance to take a guy, you do it, and that tells you what they think about Michael Penix as a prospect.
Yeah, you know what? You made a good point about Michael Penix, and like what it takes to come back from injury. Man, like you gotta have character.
Yeah.
To come back, to put in the work, and to come back strong, you gotta have a lot of character. And not to say like people who don't come back from injuries don't have character. It's just you gotta put in the work day in, day out, and then you have to have the mindset. And man, that's some real stuff.
Yeah,
that's some real stuff right there. But yeah, let's move it along, man. Hey, man, we got so much to talk about, man. We had so much to catch up on. But let's get into what people are talking about today, right now, and that's post-draft free agency, man. And right now, this is typical around the draft. After the draft completes, the market kind of opens up for free agency. So teams are going to be looking at like certain positions that they weren't able to like, fortify or draft or whatever the case may be. And maybe if there's a player available, they'll get him at the right price. And we actually did make a signing, and it was for wide receiver Michael Gallup. Man, what do y'all? We kind of touched on this a little bit on Monday's show, but like, what are y'all thoughts, man, on like Michael Gallup, the receiver who's kind of been, he had a moment in time with the Cowboys where he looked like a really solid receiver, and then injuries happened, and now he's with the Raiders, as signing as a free agent for a 1 year, $3 million deal. Like, Mike, what do you think about Michael Gallup, the receiver?
I mean, he's a good. I think he's a good wide receiver 3, and we go from wide receiver 3 Hunter Renfrow, where we're paying 13, 14 million, whatever the number was, to having a wide receiver 3 who's getting paid only for $3 million. So I think that was financially a smart move. Did we need him per se? I don't know. I mean, it adds another wrinkle to the offense if he stays healthy, and I mean, I think with the value, as much as we paid him for this 1 year, $3 million, I think it was a good move.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on Michael Gallup?
Yeah, man, I don't think much about Michael Gallup at all, bro. I mean, I think now I think it is a good signing, whereas it's a high upside. It's very high, low risk, high reward type of deal. He's a guy that basically at one point was thought to be good enough that the Cowboys felt comfortable moving on from Amari Cooper. That's how good they felt about Michael Gallup. I know injuries have basically plagued him his entire career. I don't know if he has the same kind of burst that he once did, just because of the injuries are just so recurring, especially at a position like that where like it you need a lot of dynamic movement. So, but it's, low risk a deal worth up to $3 million. Take a chance on the guy. If he doesn't work out, then kind of no harm, no foul.
Yeah. But well, I agree with that last part, and that leads me to say, like, hey, look, he's going to be the 4th receiver. You know what I mean? If all things, because I think he's mostly played on the outside in his career. I'm not sure if he played in the inside. If he did, maybe there might be some competition for Trey Tucker. But if Devontae Adams, the guy that Devontae's hyped up, is a guy that he's never seen a rookie be so prepared like this. I wasn't like this as a rookie. And Trey Tucker might be the answer at that number 3 receiver spot. And if Michael Gallup is the 4th receiver, that means he's going against 4th string corners. With that, he's a veteran. He's been around. If he puts in the work, puts in time, hey, I think that might be a little sneaky signing. But it's a low risk, high reward move in my opinion. So I don't think $3 million in the NFL today is a big, huge investment. And I think if he's your 4th receiver, I think that because the Raiders, outside of Trey Tucker, Devontae, and Jacoby, what's that receiver depth chart looking like? You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's looking too good. So I think it was a solid signing. That being said, let's move on along. I'm gonna go ahead and put on. Let's see here. I'm gonna put on like best available free agents, and if I'm missing anybody from this list, you guys could chime in and let me know. But what I focused on was corner and offensive tackle. Now, obviously, corner is definitely a spot where we can probably add some depth, because outside of Jack Jones, that he's going to start. You don't really know who's going to start on the other side. It's still up in the air. Is there someone on this list that you want to grab at corner? And then also, the other position on the list is offensive tackle. When you think of offensive tackle, you think of inexperience with Thayer Mumford. He had opportunity to start last season, did some good things, but are you 100% confident Thayer Mumford is a guy? Dalton Wagner is a guy that was on the injury reserve rookie, could be looked at as a guy that can possibly, maybe, who knows? But maybe they add a veteran on the cheap for some competition. Worst case scenario, you got that to fall back on instead of waiting until free agency and find it out like, oh damn, Thayer ain't the guy at right tackle. What do we do? But Severe, what are your thoughts, man? Like who pops out on this list, if anybody?
So the first thing I noticed about the list is that I don't see any tight ends on there. I mean, don't tell me we don't need a tight end, because not like that stops us ever stopped us before. So like, don't tell me that. But I mean, I think off top, Adoree Jackson. I think it might be some growing pains there because he didn't go to a very good college. But I think
Oh,
that
come on, bro. Fight on,
man, but
bro. Come on, you already know what it is.
I'm willing to look past that. I think he's a guy that would. I think, but I think he will be, probably pretty much by far the most expensive guy on this list, just because of youth, and then where other guys kind of are in their career. I think he'll probably be the most expensive, but I also think he'll be the guy that will best be able to contribute on this team. So, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking Antonio Pierce might have a relationship with them, maybe through recruiting or something like that. Because if he was in that area, Dory, I want to say he went to Sarah. So all those guys play on yeah, all those guys play in those passing leagues and no 7-on-7 leagues. So there's a very good chance he probably has some kind of relationship with Dory as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to make that connection.
But his health, though. Adoree's health
Yeah.
has been. But I don't think they're going to pay him too much. So it's like one of those, we'll see. See what happens type deal. But, Mike, what do you think about the list? Anybody pop up? Anybody that I didn't even put on the list that you're thinking about the Raiders, who they should sign or not?
I mean, I agree with Adoree Jackson. I mean, that would be my move if I had to pick from this free agent list. One spot that I'm actually looking at, and I would be making some calls, and it's not necessarily a free agent move. It's more of a trade move. What do we got to do to get one of them corners off the Eagles' hands? I'm not talking about the two that got drafted, but they got a Darius Slay, and then they got the dude that was suspended for 1 year. I mean, they got a secondary. So I'm making a call and be like, you got 4 really good corners now. I know that you can't play all 4 of them. So what do we got to do to get one of those dudes off your hands now? If you're getting rid of Slay, I know he's kind of on a downturn in his career, but we get him for the cheap, or we get him for 4th or 5th round pick, get a second win from him for a couple years. That would really bolster this offensive. I mean, this cornerback room. So that would be something that I would really take a look at, trying to make a trade. And I'm gonna start the train right now. I know people are gonna be like, down the line, smoke season will be coming up anytime soon. With training camp down the line in a couple months. Oh, let's get this guy off a trade and that guy off a trade. I'm gonna start it right now. Let's call the Eagles up and get one of them corners off their hands. So that's what I'm looking at.
I like that, man. Outside the box. But as far as for me, as far as the free agents on the list, guy that you can talk about, I know Severe, you're not big on him, but Stephon Gilmore, man. Stephon Gilmore. If we can get him at the right price, he's been pretty solid for the teams at age 34, and we've seen some corners have aged well. That's a position where certain corners have aged well. Stephon Gilmore, I think, in my opinion, the value that he would bring would be two-sided. It would be, obviously, he might be a solid veteran. I don't want him to come to Raiders and lose a step, but on the other side is, look at all the inexperience that we have at that corner spot. And you're telling me we add in a former defensive player of the year to that spot, and to mentor and to learn, teach some of the young guys how to do it and how to be good for this long. You know what I mean? A Jacorian Bennett, Richardson that we drafted this year in the draft, corner. You know what I mean? We're talking about how athletically he's gifted, but the other side, he still hasn't figured it out yet. And then you add a guy like Stephon Gilmore. Hey, I mean, are y'all following me on this? Would that be the right move for the right price?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of we do that as kind of what we hope to have with Marcus Peters.
Is the price for free? I mean, Stephon Gilmore has aged like LeBron James' hairline. It's not like, bro. I'm cool. I'm cool on Stephon Gilmore, man. I mean, along the lines of what Mike said, if we think outside the box, I'm calling the Cowboys and I'm calling the Titans. Seeing if I can dangle maybe a fifth for a guy like a Trey Lance or a guy like Malik Willis. It's something that Ray. This is something Shout out to Ray. Ray kind of put this bug on my ear, and I think it's a very very good idea. If we looking for a developmental quarterback, we couldn't get one in this draft, and we don't want to wait until next year. Trey Trey Lance is a full like 2 years younger than Aiden O'Connell. Bro. Like, Trey Lance been in the league like 4 years, 3 or 4 years, man. Malik Willis is like a year younger than them, so. I mean, if you want some guys with some talent still, maybe Rich Scangarello, Luke Getsy can kind of help mold those guys and add another dynamic to the offense. Maybe, that's some outside the box thinking. But Stephon Gilmore, man, if this was like 3 years ago, maybe, but after seeing what he did last year, man, I got to let's take a hard pass on that one.
I mean, there's a lot of people that were. There were a lot of people that were big on Hendon Hooker last year. Yeah. Maybe you call up the Lions and see what's up. I don't know.
True.
I mean, hey, like he's not getting any younger. He was
at all.
So
yeah.
So you know what I mean, and hopefully, you know what I hope Kirk Cousins balls out. Like he balls out like to the point where like they can't bench him. You know what I mean? And then Penix is over there just aging. You know what I mean? Gracefully, just like damn, yeah, like. And we end up trading for him like for a sec. Oh man, I don't know. Maybe I could.
That'd be crazy.
I'm just throwing it out there, man. This is a little crazy scenario, but that being said, like, hey, look, we were able to get into a lot of different things today, man. We went from the draft, obviously our mock drafts, and we compared. I ain't gonna lie, I liked our mock drafts. To be honest,
man.
It was nice. Nice.
We were able to get a quarterback. We were able to address the offensive line, the trenches.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? But, I'll let y'all be the judge, man. But, hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show. Man, it's the next time. When's the next time, Mike? Are you gonna be going live this week, or let the people know where they can find you and what to look forward to?
Yeah, you can find me at Big Mike Raider. You do a search, it's the first thing that pops up. Also, look for planetraiders.com. I'm gonna be dropping some articles. I'm probably gonna be working on one while I'm on a flight over to where I'm going and not where you guys are. But I'll be working on an article. And Severe, we're gonna get him going too with the Severe Truth. So stay tuned for that one, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So,
sir.
hey,
Yes,
Severe,
sir.
man, let the people know, man. Where can they find you? What to look forward to? Let them know.
Yeah, I know what it is, man. The Severe Raider. You can find me, Severe Raider, on YouTube, of course, man. I'm about to be dropping stuff on here. Over at PlaneRaiders.com, as Mike already said, pretty soon with the Severe Truth. As well as on Instagram, Snapchat. Got to set up a TikTok, man. All that stuff. It's everywhere. Gonna be blasting out content. And man, y'all know how I roll, man. Y'all know how I roll, man. It's the bad guy, man. So holla at me.
The great
villain of the villains.
The villain.
Man. But look, man, hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Like I said, hey, we're gonna be doing this next week as well. So most likely you guys gonna be seeing this on tomorrow, which is Thursday. I'm just gonna say Thursday. Man, hopefully everybody enjoys their night, their evening when this drops. And also we're gonna be going live on Mondays every at 8 p.m. You know what I mean? We've been consistent with this thing. So look, make sure to check us out, man. The 50-50 show with myself and the Severe Raider. And then obviously we do this every week, the collab. Hey, we need to let us know in the comment section, what would you name this show?
You want to name the collab? That sounds kind of dope. What you just said, bro. That just kind of rolled off the tongue, bro.
The collab.
Yeah, that's kind of
dope too.
I don't know. And let you know what? Let's also incorporate. We'll throw that one in the hat, and let's incorporate what people have to say in the chat or in the comment section, I should say, and let us know what your thoughts on what this. You know what I mean? It could be the collab. You know what I mean? It could be something. Let us know, and then hey, we'll make sure to incorporate that in the future. So hey, man, like I said, everybody, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And Severe, you got any last? I already know you about to chime in. You always want to get the last word, man.
I've been being good, man. I've been being good. I've been letting the show in, man.
I already know Justice Field is trash. What else? What else is it? What is it?
Yeah, should have traded. Man.
All right, y'all. We about to be out, man. All right, peace.
All right. 12 personnel.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.